Hey everyone, happy Friday. It's February 18th, 2022, and it's time for another episode of Live with Virginia NORML General Assembly Update. I'm J.M. Padini, the Development Director for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws and the Executive Director of the State Chapter of Virginia NORML. As always, we're going to talk all things cannabis and the Commonwealth and answer your burning questions live today. Hi, Ryan. Happy Friday. Hey, Joey. I hope you've been well as well. Hey, Doc. Good to see you. All right. For those of you following along with the Virginia General Assembly, which I'm sure is every single one of you watching, this week is crossover. So crossover is when all of the bills that succeed in the Senate cross over to the House, and all the bills that succeed in the House cross over to the Senate. If a bill doesn't cross over, it's dead. So we're going to talk about all of our bills, and gosh, Cassidy, Ben, maybe one of you want to count and let me know how many it was. There were over 30 bills introduced this session. They're all on that tracker that Cassidy just dropped in the comments. And you can see how many of them are now read, in particular House bills, because they were all left in committee. That's right, most of the bills introduced in the House of Delegates for cannabis policy were never even heard. One of them was, well, technically 3 of them were. One of them was incorporated into another bill, and you may recall we worked to have that amended to remove the repeal of using the claim, I smell marijuana, to stop, search, or seize a person, place, or thing. That bill, HB 79, has crossed over to the Senate, where it is not likely to do well. So goodbye to that bill. Now, House Bill 933 is the standard bill that we have every session and have had for many, many years. That is sort of the cleanup bill for the medical cannabis program. This includes benefits both for operators and for patients. Most notably, it eliminates the patient registration requirement. This is similar to Senator Marsden's SB 772 and Senator Donovan's SB 671. House Bill 933 by Delegate Roxanne Robinson was heard in the House of Delegates after much begging and pleading, and that bill succeeded 93 to 5 with 2 abstentions. Yeah, so that bill is on its way to the Senate. In fact, it has been assigned to the Education and Health Committee in the Senate. There's an action alert for HB 933 and SB 671 and 772. Check it out. So, we haven't seen that bill get docketed yet, HB 933, but it will be docketed soon. It is assigned to the Ed and Health Committee. It will technically then get sent to the Senate Education and Health Professions Subcommittee. That's where this bill will be heard. And hopefully the House dockets the Senate versions of those bills in their chamber. We'll see. But otherwise, at least we have that one bill doing something. Now, let's talk about some other bills. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. KA, thank you for also writing Speaker Gilbert. That is important. Speaker Gilbert does control where bills are assigned in the House of Delegates, to which committees they are assigned. And so it will really be incumbent upon him to assign the Senate bills to committees that will hear them. Now, not too concerned about the medical bills getting heard in the House. Those are typically well received. So hopefully that all of the medical bills that were sent to the House are docketed. These are bills like Senator Marsden's 542 and 772, Senator Donovan's 671. So hopefully all those get assigned to the HWI committee and actually get heard. Additionally, Senator Hanger's bill SB 591, which deals with the shapes that hemp and cannabis products can be made in and what they can actually contain, that succeeded unanimously and is also on its way to the House. So hopefully those bills get docketed. And let's talk about what happened with the big bills, because I can see Michael's asking questions about it. Let's see your question, Michael. How does this impact medical patients? It will not, because these are different products. So right now, medical products are called cannabis oil and botanical cannabis. And those are codified definitions. And a registered medical cannabis patient can possess a 90-day supply of cannabis oil and 4 ounces of botanical cannabis. That's different than what is currently defined as marijuana in code. So no worries there. But let's talk more about 391. Let's talk about 391 and what happened, not just with 391, but with 313. So for those of you who've been playing along with the home version, you will know that we have, as policy experts, long advised that we have 2 vehicles with which to do something. And when it comes to beginning retail sales, we had standalone legislation filed by multiple members. Senator Eben filed SB 313, which was the Cannabis Oversight Commission's bill. Senator Donovan filed her own version of it, which got incorporated into 313. And then in the House, Delegate Hodges filed, I think it was HB 211, and that was essentially the same thing. And all these 3 bills did was turn on sales at the existing medical operators, which is a standard policy approach when a state expands from medical to adult use. This is a bill for consumers, and here at NORML, that's how we're going to discuss it. So if you have business interests, you can take those somewhere else, because we're not a business association. So 313 essentially got stricken, not essentially, it was stricken altogether. Senator Eben had his bill withdrawn and took some components of some version of 313 and put those in 391. And 391 is sort of the big reenactment bill. That's the only reenactment bill that came out of the Senate, and nothing came out of the House. So we have one bill that is now everything. It is a behemoth, and that's not the approach. That's not the strategy that we had advised using. Because what happens if this bill is never docketed and never heard in the House of Delegates? Right? I'm going to say the answer isn't, oh, well, that's the House's problem. I'm going to say that's a big problem for Virginians. Feel free to let us know what you think in the comments. So hopefully Speaker Gilbert wants to do something, as he's indicated repeatedly that he does. Hopefully he wants to do something, and hopefully he will send Senate Bill 391 to a committee in the House of Delegates that will actually hold a hearing on this bill. Let's assume this happens. Let's just cross our fingers and think happy thoughts and assume this is happening. What will then happen, should this bill get a hearing? There will be an amendment in the nature of a substitute, and the House will slap its own version on top of it. What will be in it? Who knows? You could go look at House Bill 950, which was introduced by Delegate Weber, And that's probably kind of close to some of the things that'll be in it. So thanks for asking, Michael, and just ripping the Band-Aid off of that conversation. Hey, Ellie, did Senator Lucas vote no on 391? No, I think what you saw was her voting to not strike 313. Robert, look, Virginians elected who they elected in November, and now all of Virginia is going to have to deal with the consequences. Ellie, I'd love for you to come, and for any of you all to come watch the session. In fact, some of you already have. If you are following along on our bill tracker page, we put a green box below the bill when it has been docketed for a hearing, either in subcommittee, a full committee, or the floor. So what's going to be happening next is bills, at least in the Senate, will be heard in subcommittee and full committee, and then potentially move to other committees before being sent to the floor. So keep your eyes peeled for 933 to be moving through the Senate. We don't know what's going to happen with any of the Senate bills that went to the House, if they are going to be docketed at all. But if they are, you can come to those subcommittees, the full committees, or when they're on the floor. When they're on the floor, you would watch from the gallery. I would encourage you not to come to first read because they don't actually read it. Second and third read are sometimes on the same day, so you could catch some action, some debate. And if you don't want to drive to the Capitol, you can watch all of this live from the comfort of wherever you are, except for some subcommittees meet in rooms that don't have the technology. And I think that would be like health professions. I think health professions subcommittees are, at least in the Senate health professions, Senate Ed and health professions, I think meets in a conference room that doesn't have the ability to broadcast. But thanks for asking, Ellie. Happy Friday to you as well, Tamra. Sue, this is a great question. So what's proposed now in the current posture of Senate Bill 391 is to allow retail sales to begin September 15th of this year at the dispensaries that are already open in Virginia for adults. At the medical dispensaries that are already serving medical patients, then they would be able to serve adults as well. Then there is a timeline for licensing new businesses as well. September of 2022, this year. This year is 2022. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see, Mary Jo. Garrett, the bill tracker page is on Virginia NORML's website. That's a great question, KA. Typically, a bill like this would have been assigned to Courts of Justice Committee in the House or General Laws Committee in the House, but it's unlikely that if it went there, that it would get out. So I don't know where the speaker might send such a bill to be heard. Possibly the Appropriations Committee. We'll just, I'll just drop Mike's comment for you right there. You're not wrong, Mike. Drew, no, it's not accurate. It's accurate that some might be, or there may be weighted licensing, weighted scoring in the application process for SWAM businesses. That's a possibility that could come out of this divided government. Hi, Roger. Great question. You know what has to happen first? The bill has to be heard in a committee before people can even vote on it in the House. And if it doesn't get heard, nothing is happening this year. Nothing. Hi, Marcy. Oh, Michael, it took me a second to see what you meant. Michael, you are you talking about medical cannabis patient registrations? They're hitting like the December registrations right now. Oh, yikes. Ellie, sure, you can say that if you want. Charlie says, it's that time on Friday, folks. Charlie's got the jokes today and pretty much every day. Ellie, this is an excellent question. I'm so glad you asked. So while delivery is currently allowed for medical cannabis patients, the way it has been drafted, that same courtesy is not extended to adult use consumers at this time. Hey, Jeff. Hey, AJ. All right, friends. Ellie, you sure did. So let's talk about some other legislation, because there's the big bill and that's kind of what everyone's looking at. But also there are some really important bills like Senator Serval's 742, which deals with third-party companies that collect and then disseminate data on criminal records. So while a record for misdemeanor marijuana possession is technically sealed, has been sealed by Virginia State Police already, both for misdemeanor possession and misdemeanor possession with intent to distribute. Those records are sealed, but there are third-party companies out there that collect all this information and sell it. And that's not good. So Senator Serval's SB 742 would prohibit that. Good bill. Also, Senator Serval has 745, and this has to do with parole and resentencing for those currently incarcerated for marijuana convictions. Those bills, both 742 and 745, have advanced from the Senate and have been sent to the House. Will they even be heard? Who knows? Same thing holds true for Senator Lucas's bill, SB 564. This is another expungement-related bill. Is it going to be heard in the House? Who knows? And if it's heard in the House, is it going to succeed? It's not likely. Did I get them all? I think I got them all. All right, so lots of news out there about crossovers. Happens every year. Take a look at the NORML blog. Senate approves adult use cannabis retail sales in bipartisan vote. That's right. When this bill succeeded in the Senate, it did so with Democratic and Republican support. It's a historic vote in Virginia. Remember last year, all of the legalization bills passed on party line votes, and this time they had Republican support in the Senate. We talked to WUSA 9, and they asked, could the sale of recreational marijuana be legal in Virginia by September 15th? Possibly. Take a look at that video. Share it with your friends. And a little earlier in the week, we talked to 13 News Now. They reported on marijuana bills stall in Virginia's GOP-controlled House. That is accurate. And look, all these things sound super disheartening, but For those of you living in Northern Virginia, guess what? Beyond Hello is getting ready to open a third dispensary up there in Bellhaven. That's in Alexandria. It's going into an old steakhouse. We just saw this news hit right before we went live, so we have that handy for you here. This month, a number of two, two dispensaries opened out in Southwest. That was Lynchburg and Christiansburg. So good news for those of you out in Southwest who have 4 dispensaries. 2 out in Hampton Roads, 2 here in the Richmond area with a third on deck, 2 up in Northern Virginia with a third one opening in Alexandria, and nothing going on in Health Service Area 1 because that, I know you all want to ask again, yes, that license is still caught up in a legal battle. Look at that. Before I even saw your question, KA, I had said, yes, Drew, these are all medical dispensaries. We don't have any law in place that allows the licensing of anything but medical dispensaries right now. I don't know what that is, but that's a weird, what is, can you delete that, Cassidy? Whatever that is. Oh, it looks like it's the end of a comment. Weird stuff happening on YouTube comments. Andrew, look, we've seen different comments from different people, and hey, Andrew, why don't you tell us where you're shopping at so we know where you don't like, and also let us know what in particular you don't like. You know, we have heard that patients really like a number of products, and we've heard that some patients don't like some products. So helpful to know what you like and what you don't. Hey, Jen. So yes, there is legislation to allow for felony possession with intent to distribute marijuana and paraphernalia for those records to be sealed by petition once that process is available. I don't think most of our medical patients are elderly in Virginia, AJ. There's over 40,000 of them, and you don't have to be old to shop or to get registered. It's pretty easy. Cheers, Brady. Andrew, they all supply, they're all able to wholesale with each other. So all of the 4 medical companies in Virginia are allowed to wholesale their products to each other. Sean, I do. Oh, that's funny, Sean. Okay. Yes. So I'm glad you brought this up, Sean, because there is language included in 391. This is, remember, the only bill that's even possible when it comes to licensing new businesses or allowing sales to begin. This is the only vehicle for it now, friends. 391 does include, in its current posture, the ability to license 10 hemp businesses that have processed over 40,000 pounds and were registered prior to March 1st, 2021. This is not written for hemp farmers. This is very narrowly written for 2 companies that purport to meet those metrics. And let's just go ahead and say there are 9 companies out there that somehow meet these metrics. They would have to apply, and the license fee would be $500,000. That's in the current posture of the bill. The way it's written for big businesses. It's not written for your local hemp farmer. And even these big businesses are going to need not just the capital for that $500,000 fee, assuming it even stays that. They're going to need millions of dollars to build their facility. And this is not going to come from your local bank lending money to your local farmer. This is going to be venture capital that comes mostly and predominantly from multi-state operator cannabis companies. This is nothing more than a way for businesses not operating in Virginia to buy a cheap hemp license and get out in front of all of you who want to enter the industry. So don't be fooled by the idea that there's something for small businesses or hemp farmers when it comes to early licensing in the current version of the bill. That's not written for them. Maybe that was a little too honest, but hey, that's what I'm here for. That's interesting, Richard. They're allowed to have some variance, but not a large variance. Why can't I click on you? I want to click on your comment, Daniel. You think all medical cannabis needs to be grown in Virginia? It is. All of the products that are sold in Virginia dispensaries are grown here. They are all grown here. In fact, 2 of the 5 companies that were originally licensed for the medical cannabis program in Virginia were Virginia-based companies. They have since sold their companies to multi-state operators, and that's, we're not in the business of telling people to whom they can sell their businesses in Virginia. Jeff, now that is a comment that we hear a lot. And one thing that would be really helpful for reducing price in the medical program is the ability for medical companies to start selling to adults. There's only, let's see, last month, I think we were just under 41,000, so we're probably over 42,000 patients registered in Virginia now. That's it for 4 companies. It might seem like a lot, but it's not. Oh no. Yes, Jen, it will be there. And I will answer your question again. Yes, there is a petition-based process for felony possession with intent to distribute and paraphernalia. Sean, thank you for your kind words, friend. Appreciate it. That's what we're here to do. Yes. Yes, you can. You can do what you want in your own property. The only thing that cannot be visible from a public way is personal cultivation. But you can consume cannabis on your property. No. Must pass bill. Cannot do anything until bill passes. Thank you, Sean. Joel, it's already booming. In fact, Virginia has the 4th largest illicit cannabis market in the nation, valued at $1.8 billion in 2020 alone, and controlled largely by organized crime. like your question, Michael. Is there enough infrastructure? There sure could be, because we passed legislation to build an entire regulatory body for it. Unfortunately, they've only hired 2 people. The administration could do something about that. We'll see if they do. As far as the medical portion of it, that's under Board of Pharmacy. Now, the medical program is supposed to move over to the Cannabis Control Authority in 2023, but to assist with the deep backlog of approvals, we've introduced legislation to eliminate the patient registration process altogether. Patients would simply get their written certification and be done. That would be it. One version of this would allow patients to still request a card from Board of Pharmacy. We'll see which version succeeds. Yeah, but yeah. Oh, and your other part was, what we have support demand? No, of course not. We have a limited licensure medical program that requires vertical integration and was this ridiculous scheme concocted by the then Republican-controlled legislature that purportedly believes in free market. No, it's terrible. And we were never going to be able to fix the program given the restrictions of it, both legislatively and from a regulatory standpoint. So we knew better than to try and do anything under Board of Pharmacy, because this lawsuit is still pending. And it'll be pending next week when we talk about it again. We knew it needed to go somewhere else, and so we have legislation that made a whole state agency just for this. So if it can just get there, then we can do more things. Sean, you are correct. Read the room, folks. Virginia elected a Republican administration. Virginia elected a Republican-controlled House of Delegates. Read the room. Sean knows what's going to happen. You know, Sean, you might recall that we talked about this delicately and gracefully a few weeks back, where we said, social equity really just has a framing problem in the House. And we might be able to get more leverage on that side if we talked about it from a community reinvestment perspective. We'll see. I think the best we're going to be able to get out of the House, if we're able to get anything, would be to adopt some existing programs like SWAM, Small Women and Minority-Owned Businesses, perhaps something for veterans as well, and perhaps use existing language around economically distressed areas. But the reality of Virginia is that it is a Republican administration and a Republican-controlled House. What do you think they're going to pass, if they pass anything? Sue, this ridiculous number, $6 million, is the current proposal for the medical companies to start selling to adults. $6 million. Now, can these companies afford it? Yeah, probably. But why don't you tell me, Sue, because you're a smart person, why don't you tell me who you think is going to bear the cost of that? Might it be consumers? Ryan, I see your question, and I'm about the farm, and I think no. What farms are supplying the dispensaries? There are no farms supplying dispensaries. Virginia has a limited licensure, vertically integrated model. All the companies that sell medical cannabis in Virginia have to grow their own cannabis and produce their own products. They are able to wholesale products between each other. Also, some hemp farms, well, I shouldn't say it that way. The medical cannabis companies are able to purchase extracted CBD from industrial hemp processors currently licensed in Virginia, as long as the extracted CBD can meet the same standards and quality required for the medical program. You're welcome, Jen Fisher. Oh, Sue. Yeah, Sue, they had then proposed that these hemp companies would pay $1 million, and then that got kicked down to 500,000. But friends, it's not for hemp farmers. It's for companies out there pretending to be hemp processors so they can get a cheap license. Michael, all of our questions are kind of Debbie Downer here right now. Sue, there you are with the correct answer. That's right. Whatever you make companies do, you are going to pay the price at the end of the day. No, Fred, it doesn't seem like that's the case, my friend. It does not at all seem like that's the case right now. Humble hydroponics, that Rob Whitman is in Congress, not in the state. Oh, let's jump into this fire. Hey, Brent, here's your question. Are the Delta 8 products regulated? No, not in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, so you know what? If you like some CBD that's been cooked in sulfuric acid for 3 days, go get yourself some Delta 8, because that's how it's made. Sulfuric acid is battery acid, by the way. Yeah, you can shout, not you, Brent, because I know you would never come at me shouting Farm Bill, but whoever's watching and wants to shout Farm Bill, it's not what the Farm Bill does. Delta 8 that you see, here we go. Delta 8 that you see on the shelves around at the gas station, you know, where you get all your best products. At Elwood Thompson, at the vape store, at wherever, that all contains a synthesized version of tetrahydrocannabinol, an isomer called Delta 8. It was not extracted from hemp. It wasn't extracted from anything. Some CBD was cooked in battery acid, and that's how they make Delta 8. It's a synthetic. And all synthetic tetrahydrocannabinols are considered controlled substances, federal Schedule 1 controlled substances by the Federal Controlled Substances Act. Delta 9 is the naturally occurring version, Ryan. Hey, KA, you have a great weekend as well. Just going to leave that right there for you, friends. Oh, I see your comment, Cassidy. Yes, feel free to do that. All right, friends, this has been delightful as ever. I think your questions have been super. If you are watching afterward, feel free to drop your comments in the questions, and we'll do our best to take a look at those over the weekend and get back to you. If you haven't yet joined NORML, please do, because we'd love to send you your 2022 official member card. If you're still waiting for that, let me know. And if you haven't yet joined Virginia NORML, you should do that, because we'd love to send you your 2022 membership card. They're different. Collect them all. They're different every year. Ryan, what's the point of Delta 8? People think it's a legal loophole. They think that, but they're wrong. Yeah, really, Ryan, the objective is to make a buck on the back of unsuspecting consumers who think they're getting something that's legal or safe, and it's neither of those. AJ, you do want one, so head to norml.org/join to get this one. head to vanormal.org/join to get this one. Big thanks to Ben, who's been in the office today, working to get memberships mailed out to all of you. Is it the same as regular cannabis? Delta 8? No. Yes, Delta 8 occurs naturally in cannabis plants in very, very small amounts. No one is extracting Delta 8 in its natural form and selling it. What you're buying is CBD cooked in battery acid and then sprayed on something. All right, friends, have a great weekend. If you haven't taken a peek at our action alert page, head over to vanormal.org/act. If you're just looking for action alerts for the entire country, head to normal.org/act. Click on your state and send some action alerts, because legislatures are in session all around the country right now, not just Virginia. Ellie, you're the best. Oh, Ryan, these are all great questions. Listen, friends, have a great weekend. I'd love to see you next week at the Virginia General Assembly. Let's see what we can get done, and make sure you are sharing our action alerts. We're, in the second half of session. We've got 3.5 weeks left, and boy, it is going to be difficult to get these bills heard and passed through the House of Delegates. So make sure you are writing, calling, making sure these bills get heard, helping us get them passed. We've only got one shot this year, and this is it, friends. All right, everyone, have a great weekend, and I'll see you back here next week.